Hi, my name's Mick Cullen, and I spend a lot of my time going around to ancient sites, primarily in the Avebury World Heritage area, because that's sort of home country to me. So I'm a local visitor, if you like, to West Kennet, Longbarrow, Silbury Hill, the Sanctuary, Avebury Stone Circle, and many other lesser known sites within a few miles either side of that designated area. Extremely lucky that I am to live where I do. In my travels, I've met wonderful people from all over the world, and quite often I'll get chatting to people because when I'm at these sites, I may be sort of connecting with the site, doing some drumming, etc. And they'll quite often come up to me and see if I can help them with questions they've got in their mind. The most common one, of course, being they may say to me, that drumming sounds really atmospheric, it's really good. Why are you doing it? And I try and explain to them what got me into why I bought the drum in the first place and why I started doing this. And because you can't do it without mentioning the energy of the site, and it becomes apparent almost straight away how many people think that earth energy and ley lines are one of the same. And of course they're not, they're very different. And it sort of inspired me to try and do some online videos. And this first video is going to be to try and explain the difference between earth energy lines, or currents as I prefer to call them, and ley lines. I want the video to be as brief as possible. It's not going to be easy to keep it simple, but I'm going to do my best. So within my capabilities. So here we go. Let's have a look at ley lines first. Try and define a ley line. A ley line identifies if you take a map and you draw a line from A to B. You have a ley line when a certain amount of ancient sites, in this ancient sites, churches, or it could be anything, but let's take the ancient sites, churches, etc. When you have X amount of these within a given area, then we could refer to that becomes a ley line. Okay, let's take the St Michael line, one of the most famous in England, and it runs through the area where I live. The St Michael energy line actually comes through the town that I live in. But the ley line that we're talking about now passes through Avebury, many other sites. It gets to the next major place, which is of course Glastonbury, world famous again, and carries on down, going through other sites and right down to the tip of England. St Michael's Mount is referred to as the starting point of that ley line, and it kicks off from the northeast coast, so we're talking about several hundred miles. If you draw this line linking out the northeast coast down to St Michael's Mount, we will see on that line many ancient places of great significance, if you like, many of which are related to one another, like the churches may be dedicated to St Michael. So that is what constitutes a ley line. You can think of it as an imaginary line. You identify where related sites, you've got so many ancient sites following on from one another, and you recognise the existence of these, and you see the pattern emerging, and you realise at that stage it's an invisible line, but you realise you could draw a line going down through, and not only on that line but within so many miles each side of that line, you would have many ancient places, quite often related to one another. That sort of defines a ley line, whereas a earth energy line is organic. It's a living thing, and there's an expression: everything is connected, and we have energy within our bodies, and the chakras within our body, starting at the base up to the crown. These are used in ancient Japanese healing processes, and there's the same sort of energy in the cosmos. What we thought once was simply empty space, darkness, is actually like a cobweb of vibration, of energy, and we have the same thing going on within the earth. There's many energy lines which circle the earth, crisscross over. It would look like a ball of wool if you could put all of them on the globe. And one of them is the St. Michael line, what we call the St. Michael ley line. Within following this ley line, or I should say it's quite the reverse, but the ley line is following or highlighting earth energy that travels down. And of course the earth energy doesn't travel in a straight line, anything but. It's organic, it's living, and it weaves like the serpent, which is why the serpent is it represents, if you like, the life force of the earth, and it's been recognised for thousands of years. The serpent, as you can walk into there's a famous church down in Devon, where there's just one of the stone pillars in the church has two serpents on it. It's an ancient church, and it's at that point where the two energy lines cross over. So each one of these serpents within this church is recognizing the earth energy that goes through this church. And it was great to represent the earth energy, because that's how earth energy moves. It moves like a serpent. And that's why if you look at a ley line which is actually being drawn, superimposed on a standard map, and then put in the earth energies, you'll find that the earth energies cross. They go so many miles one side of the ley line, back so many miles the other, and this is how they move and make their way down through the country, and they visit all these ancient and sacred sites as they go. Some people aren't happy with the word energy, but the definition of energy is, or what constitutes energy, is something that can affect change, and earth energy certainly does, can affect change on people. Some people have a negative response to that sort of energy, because there's negative as well as positive energies. And some people get a very rewarding and spiritual guidance, if you like, through these energies. I think the point of stone circles that were built on energy lines was to magnify this energy, if you like. And some scientists have proven that there is an energy, and it's somewhat higher in the stone circle than it is outside. So we know it does exist. Some people can feel energy. I have on a couple of occasions now physically felt the earth energy without having to use any dowsing tools at all. But these energies that I've been talking about so far are what we would call main arteries, if you like. If we think of our circulatory system, where we have main arteries going down, these would be like the main arteries of, say, the St. Michael energy flow where you've got the Michael and the Mary, the masculine and the feminine. So we've got two energy lines going. If we think of those as two main arteries, we have to think back again to our bodies that although we've got main arteries, we've also got many contributors, and they which allow blood to travel in our body to our fingertips, etc. We've got main arteries going down to the centre of our body, but if we prick the very tip of our finger, we will bleed. And it's the same with earth energies. We have the main arteries, like the Michael current, the Mary current energy lines, but earth energy is everywhere. In our house, I have a little energy centre in my house, and I can pick up energies using dowsing rods because they're so subtle. I can't feel them physically, but I can find them with dowsing rods. And wherever you go, you will find earth energy. It's just that many ancient sites, stone circles, etc., were built on top of, if you like, the main arteries. Stone circles were built in such a way as they would magnify the power from these main arteries, and they were used in a sacred way. Likewise, when Christianity, for example, came along, they recognised the significance of these places, and they built their little churches on top. And so they were harnessing in, focusing in on what was already on the site, which is why you go around churches and you will find many pagan symbols, and you'll find the serpent marking where you'll find the earth energy is passing through the church. There's many little churches that I love visiting, because they're full of what I call little hidden gems, and it's like messages, if you like, where clergy were well aware of the place the church was built on, probably not shared with the public because they led a different story, if you like, but it's great going around these places and you see little messages, little signs that are left, and they're acknowledgements of the power of the site that the church is sitting on. Before we get too in depth, I hope I've been some help to you. What I've tried to put over is a ley line starts off as an imaginary line, and it can be superimposed on a map as a means of identifying, whereas earth energy is organic, it's living, it's part of everything we know, the cosmos, part of what we constitute. It's a living thing. I hope I've been some help, and I hope I've inspired you in some way to look into it a bit deeper than this. But we're already coming up to 14 minutes long, and my intention was about 5 minutes. But I did think that would be rather impossible. Thanks for watching. Bless you all, and we'll meet again soon, some sunny day.